Hello children, how are you all? Hope you are all fine. Welcome to Samveda e-learning program. In today's class, we shall learn more about force and pressure from 8th standard textbook. This is the second session. Hope you enjoyed the first session. Now let us move on to the second session. This is from page number 127 to 146. Hope you can refer that and get ready. If you are all ready with notebook and pen, we shall begin the second session of force and pressure. Are you all ready? Shall we begin? Yes. Before that, let us have a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous class. After learning the first session, you will be able to define force. That is, force is push or pull. And you can also differentiate energy and force. Energy is a scalar quantity. It is the capacity to do work. It is the capacity of a closed system which is measured in joules, whereas force is the push or pull. It is vector quantity and it is measured in Newton. Force is an act which can enable the energy to transform from one form to another form. And identify force as a vector quantity. That means it has both magnitude and direction. Without direction, the force has no meaning. And you can also define Newton, the SI unit of force. And next, you can relate weight and force. In the previous class, you learnt that weight is nothing but the force of gravity. And you can also give examples for contact forces. The muscular force, the frictional force, the tension force and the applied force are all the examples of contact forces. And you can find out the resultant forces. The forces acting in the single direction, same direction, are added up. The forces acting in the opposite direction, the resultant force is the difference between them. And you can also identify the effects of forces. Force is a abstract concept. You can feel the force only when it causes some motion. Therefore, under the effects of forces, you have learnt that force can change the state of the motion of the body, and the force can also change the size and shape of the body. These were the learning points of the session 1, and now we shall move on to the second session. Let us see what are the learning points we are going to cover in the second session. In this session, after completing this session, you would be able to identify balanced forces, and you can also give examples for non-contact forces, and you can define pressure, and also you can differentiate force and pressure. And next, you can identify the pressure by liquids and gases. You can explain atmospheric pressure, and also you can apply the knowledge of force and pressure in day-to-day life activities. This is the utmost important learning point. After completing this session, you would be able to apply the knowledge of force and pressure in your day-to-day life. Shall we begin now? Yes. Here is a concept map. Force is of two types. One is contact forces and the next one is non-contact forces. Under contact forces, we have muscular force, frictional force and tension force, applied force and so on. Under non-contact forces, we have magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. These non-contact forces we are going to study in the present session. Before that, let us have a look at balanced forces. What do you mean by balanced forces? Imagine there is a table. On this table, we have a box like this. Do you think any forces are acting on this? Yes, you are right. Sometimes you may have a confusion and you may have a doubt like no force is acting on the box, but there are forces acting. Let us see what are they. The first one is the weight, that is the force of gravity acting on the box, which is downwards. When the force is acting downwards, why the box is not falling down? Yes, that is because the table is giving the opposite force which is equal to the weight, and that is known as normal force. Now this is the system of balanced forces. Therefore, the box is not under motion. If you want to execute motion, if you want to move the box, what you have to do? Yes, you have to apply force. Then there comes the unbalanced forces. Let us see what happens if I apply force on the box. I applied force and the box moved. The force causes motion. Now here in this case, the force was from left hand side to right hand side. The box also moved in the same direction of the force. So this is how unbalanced forces causes motion and balanced forces causes no motion on the object. Now it is non-contact forces. You have to learn about this. The first one is the magnetic force. You know very well, you have played lot with the magnets and iron filings. Magnet attracts iron filings or iron pieces. I have an activity which will be very interesting to you. Look at the picture. I have put iron filings for the hair of the man. When I bring magnet closer to the iron filings, they get attracted, but it is without contact. It will be a fun activity if you can do it. I hope you enjoyed this activity. And also you learned that the magnetic force is non-contact force. We have another activity. Here is a bar magnet. You know, bar magnet has two ends. One is north pole, another is south pole. When I bring another magnet with the same pole towards the north pole, that means when I bring north pole towards the north pole, there will be a repulsion, and when I bring south pole near north pole, there will be attraction. This you can play on your own with two bar magnets. Look at the video now. South pole is brought near and there is an attraction, but that is without contact. And when I bring north pole towards north pole, there is repulsion. And you observe these forces are acting without contact. Therefore, magnetic force is a non-contact force. And same thing is explained here. You can observe there is an attraction between unlike poles. Unlike poles attract each other, and similarly the like poles, when they are brought together, there will be a repulsion. Like poles repel each other, and there will be a mutual attraction between iron and magnet. Let us move on to next non-contact force, that is electrostatic force. About this you will be learning in the different chapter, but as a non-contact force we are discussing the electrostatic force here. To do this, we have to take plastic straw and it has to be suspended freely with the help of a thread. Another straw is taken and it is rubbed with paper. When it is rubbed, it gets charged, and when I bring the charged straw near the uncharged straw, there will be an attraction. You see, without contact you can observe the attraction between charged body and uncharged body. Yes, how? Hope you enjoyed this. It was an interesting activity, no? You can do it at your home. Now, one more activity for the same electrostatic force. It is the attraction between two charged bodies. What we have to do? We have to rub the suspended straw with the paper, and then that straw gets charged. Again we have to take another straw and that also has to be rubbed with paper. Now both the straws are charged, same charge, they are having same charge. Therefore, when I bring them, they get repelled. Observe, they are not attracted. Without any contact, there is a repulsion between like charges. Oh, see how nicely it is repelled. The force exerted by charged body on another charged body or an uncharged body is known as electrostatic force. Similar to the magnetic poles law, here also the like charges repel each other, that means positive and positive or negative and negative charges, they are known as like charges, they get repel each other, and unlike charges, that is positive and negative charges, they attract each other. About these charges you are going to learn more in the chapter electrostatic forces. Let us move on to the third, non-contact force. When you look at this, you can have an idea of what I am talking about. Yes, it is a famous story. You know that Newton deduced universal law of gravitation. Yes, now we are going to talk about gravitational force as a non-contact force. Gravitational force is another non-contact force. You know, the reason for the revolution of planets around the sun and the satellites around the planet is all by gravitational force of attraction, and that is also non-contact force. And also the flowing of water from higher level to the lower level, that means towards the sea, and also the revolution of artificial satellites around the earth, all these are due to gravitational force. Now let us move on to the next interesting topic, that is pressure. What is pressure and how it is related with force? We have to find it out by doing few activities. Shall we do activities? These are the simple activities you can also do at your home and enhance your learning. Shall we do? Let us understand the relationship between force and pressure with an activity of cutting a fruit with a knife. When we cut the fruit or any vegetable or anything, what side of the knife we are using? Yes, we use the sharp side of the knife. We do not use the blunt side of the knife. Why it is so? Let us observe. When I cut the fruit with a sharp edge, look at the area of the sharp edge, it is very less. The other side, the area which is large. So when I apply force on that small area, I can cut the fruit easily. I need to apply only less force. But in other words, if I use the blunt side, I have to apply more force because the area is more. It is difficult to cut the fruit from the blunt side. Let us keep the knife aside. Let me take one more instrument, that is a wooden piece. Look at the area of the wooden piece. Can I cut with that? Yes, of course I can cut, but what about the force I have to apply? I have to apply more force. Now hope you understood what is the relation between the area on which we are applying the force and the pressure. Let us do one more activity for better understanding. To do this, we have to take flour or sand in a tray. I have taken flour in a tray. I am keeping a tumbler on the floor inverted. That means upside down I am keeping. Look at the area on which I am going to apply force. Yes, it is kept like that, and I am taking one more tumbler and I am keeping it straight, erect. I am taking one more vessel which is having a wide bottom and keeping it on the floor. Now by putting some weight on these three objects, I am applying the same force, because you know weight is nothing but a force. I am applying same weight on all of them, and you can see the effect. On the first case, when I apply the force, the tumbler stuck inside. Next, the same weight is applied on the second tumbler, which was kept straight. Now the same weight is being applied on the vessel, which has a wide bottom. Let us see the effect of that force. You understood the area of the inverted tumbler was very less, and therefore whatever the force applied caused more pressure, and here pressure is less. It is evident from the fact that there is no penetration of the vessel. In the first case, pressure is more. You understood the activity, I hope, and you know what is the relation between force and the area on which it is applied, and let us have a equation. Pressure increases when the area on which the force applied decreases. It is like this: pressure increases when the area on which we are applying the force decreases. And next, pressure decreases when the area on which the force applied increases. And this kind of relation mathematically is known as inverse variation, and it is represented as follows. The pressure is inversely related to the area, and therefore it is written in the denominator. When area increases, the pressure decreases. Therefore, we are writing it in the denominator, and there is a proportionality symbol. And next, pressure increases with increase in force, and pressure decreases with a decrease in force. This is known as direct relation. Mathematically, this is known as direct variation, and it is represented like this. The quantity which is directly related to one another, they are written in the numerator. Force and pressure directly related, and mathematically as an equation it can be represented as pressure is equal to force per unit area. Using this, you can do some calculations. The force acting on an unit area of a surface is called pressure. And now you can answer this question: why a person carrying heavy weight keeps cushion on his head? Reason is very simple. I hope you can answer this. By keeping the cushion on the head, he increases the area on which the force is applied, and he decreases the pressure. It causes less pain to the person who is carrying the weight. You can also reason out this. See, the girl is sleeping on the bed of nails, but it is not harming her. You know why? This is not any miracle or any magic. It is only science, because the force which she is applying on the nails is distributed and causing less pressure, and therefore the nails are not poking into the body. But no one can stand or sit on single nail. You have to remember this and be careful. Don't try this at home. Now let us understand the differences between force and pressure. Force is a push or pull, whereas pressure is force per unit area. Force is a vector quantity and pressure is a scalar quantity. You know the difference. You learned this in the previous class. Vector quantity means it is having both magnitude and direction, whereas scalar quantity is having only magnitude, no direction. And the SI unit of force is Newton, and pressure is measured in pascals. Let us move on to another concept which is very interesting and which has very wide application in day-to-day life. Pressure exerted by liquids on the bottom of the vessel or the container. To do this, I have cut the bottom of the bottle and I have pasted balloon rubber to the bottom. When I fill the water, water exerts pressure. Water or any other liquid exerts pressure. I am filling the bottle with water. You see the effect of that water pressure on the bottom. More the water in the column, more is the pressure. Therefore, we can say the pressure exerted by liquids on the bottom depends on the height of the water column, or you can say the quantity of the water in the column. More water, more pressure. Now, we have another activity. You can do it at home. I have taken a plastic bottle to demonstrate liquids exert same pressure at same height. How can you understand this? Observe the activity carefully and you can reason out. Take empty bottle, make some holes at the bottom at same height or at same depth. Fill the bottle with water. Here blue colored water is taken only for the clarity, no other reason. How can you say now the pressure is same at the bottom at same height? Yes, that is clear from the fact that water jet which is coming out from the holes is covering same distances. So related to the previous activity, we have one more activity which says that, or which demonstrates that pressure exerted by liquids at different height will be different. To do this, take an empty bottle, make holes at a different height and fill the bottle with water and see the difference in the pressure. You have to say where the pressure is more and where the pressure is less. That you can understand by observing the water jet which comes out of the holes made by you at different height. Where the pressure is more? Can you answer? Yes. At the bottom the pressure is more and at the top pressure is less, because the water jet is falling there itself. At the bottom water jet is covering more distance. It is pressurized and it is moving long distance. So at the bottom the liquids exert more pressure. Hope you understood and you enjoyed all these activities. Let us sum up this. The pressure exerted by the liquids at the bottom of the container depends on the amount of the liquid. Liquids exert pressure on the walls of the container and liquids exert equal pressure at the same depth. These were the activities we conducted. Now you can answer the question related to the dam like this. The question, why the bottom of the dam is wide? Observe the picture. The bottom of the dam is wide and the top is narrow. Why it is built so? Why it is not just like any other wall, top to bottom same width? Why it is not maintained like that? Can you answer? Yes. In the activity you saw, the liquids exert more pressure at the bottom. Therefore, water in the dam exerts more pressure at the bottom. Therefore, it has to be wide enough to withstand the pressure. Let us move on to the next concept, that is atmospheric pressure. All of you know earth is covered with a blanket of air, that is known as atmosphere. That atmosphere continuously exerts pressure on the earth, that is known as atmospheric pressure. The pressure exerted by the atmosphere on an unit area is known as atmospheric pressure. A column of air which is actually around the earth, that under that column whatever the air is there, that weight of the air, that is the atmospheric pressure. And we human beings or the animals, we are also under atmospheric pressure. On our head the air column will be constantly exerting the pressure, that is atmospheric pressure, which is actually more. But why it is not crashing us by that atmospheric pressure? Why we are not damaged? That is the question. Because we also have internal pressure which is balancing the pressure of the atmosphere and it is not causing any harm to the body. But this atmospheric pressure is very important, without which we cannot perform so many other activities. Let us calculate how much of this atmospheric pressure on our head. Shall we do that? We know force is nothing but mass times acceleration, because force accelerates the body, that means force is mass times acceleration. Here in the case of the atmospheric pressure on our body, on our head, we have the area of the head to be 225 square centimeter, and on that area the air column throughout the atmosphere will be having 225 kg of mass. That is multiplied with the acceleration due to gravity, that is approximately 10 meters per second square. We will be finding it to be 2250 Newton, which is very huge force. Now, after learning all these points, let us have a quick recapitulation. What we learned today is magnetic, electrostatic and gravitational forces are non-contact forces. Pressure is equal to force per unit area, and liquids and gases, both of them, they exert pressure on the bottom and also on the walls of the container. liquids exert same pressure at same height. The pressure exerted by the atmosphere on the unit area is known as atmospheric pressure. I have an activity on this picture. You have to find out what is the story behind this picture. Will you do that? You have to write a short note on the experiment conducted by Otto von Guericke, a German scientist of 17th century. There is an interesting fact about this picture. See, number of horses, so many horses on both sides, they are trying to pull the sphere apart. Were they able to pull it apart or not? You have to find it out, and you have to write a short note on the experiment conducted by a famous scientist, Otto von Guericke. Okay. Now, I have another activity for you. You have to reason out this activity. When I prick a balloon with one toothpick, it will burst. You know very well. But look at the picture. Here the balloon is, actually we are pricking the balloon with a bunch of toothpicks. But now the balloon is not bursting. What is the reason for this? Having the knowledge of area and the pressure, you can answer this, and you can try this activity at home, and it will be like magic for the viewers. You can do the activity, and also you can give the reason for this. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. You learn the lesson with the help of the textbook, you discuss with your friends, teachers, and you submit the assignments given to you. Learn better using internet, you visit some websites, you read some books, and have good knowledge on force and pressure. Thank you for the good listening. Thank you.